welcome back to the Bears Baseball Network. Today we've got our August award show. We're going to be giving a huge shout out to some of the best players in the Bears here today. And let's get right into it because we've got a lot to talk about, starting with possibly the most coveted award in the Bears, the Youth MVP. And I'll tell you what, we had three very, very strong candidates here. Going to go with our top three. Starting at number 3, we have Harrison Blaebaum. Number 2, we have Neifri Cabarrus. But our Youth MVP for the month of August is Rudy Montenegro Langley. This guy, an absolute beast, led the Bears in OPS, led the Bears in home runs. This guy was absolutely on a tear all month long and also had a .550 batting average to boot while playing some good defense behind the plate. Bernie, we've talked to you a lot about having an MVP caliber player on your team. You've had a lot of MVPs of the month from Harrison Blaebaum. You're getting another one here, Bernie, and it's from a different player. How big is it to have another MVP caliber player on the roster in Rudy Montenegro Langley?
Obviously, it's someone that's that good to the squad to make any team better. Rudy was great all month, especially the first 2 weeks of the fall. I think he had 3 or 4 home runs just in the first 2 weeks alone. Like you said, I think the hardest thing to find in baseball is a catcher that can hit, and Rudy's an elite defender, and he's also as the best hitter in Youth Bears this month.
KJ, coming up a little bit later, we're going to be talking about our rookies of the month. You know, guys who are in their first month with the Bears. And a year ago, that was Rudy Montenegro Langley. And I'll tell you what, he didn't come out of the gate as an MVP caliber player. He wasn't the rookie of the month in his first month of August. In fact, he just barely hit over 200, if I remember correctly. How does a guy like Rudy go from being a guy who's, again, has a lot of potential, but isn't necessarily an MVP caliber player to winning an MVP just 12 months into his Bear career?
Yeah, Rudy's all bought in, man. If you come up to Bud Dome, you'll see this guy multiple times a week here. He's in every program, and he's what the Bears preach about.
Yeah, he's got the size, he's got the speed, and of course he's got the work ethic. Rudy Montenegro Langley, our youth MVP. Moving over to the high school MVP, this one, again, was highly contested. Coming in at number 3, we have Andrew Engelken, a very nice month from him, led that 17U Burn squad. Coming in at number 2, and I'll tell you what, the 1 and 2 really could have been flipped either way, and I really wouldn't be too mad about it. Coming in at number 2, this guy hit .750 as a high school player in the month of August. It's Wyatt Poore. But coming in at number 1, led all our high school players in home runs, led all our high school players in extra base hits. This guy was a beast all month with 18 RBIs and an 1893 OPS. It's Ben Combs. KJ, an absolute beast. We've always known Ben as a superstar caliber player. Really put it all together this month. What do you think about Ben Combs' MVP August?
Oh, yeah. Ben's another guy. He's up here all the time. The work ethic is crazy. And, people don't really remember this guy. When he came in, he wasn't, a good athlete. He wasn't a superstar. And this guy just worked and worked and worked. And, people see him as a superstar now. But same as Rudy. He didn't start as a superstar. He worked his way up. And, he gets all the credit for that.
It's funny, BBN took a bit of hiatus when it first started in 2018, and then it came back, I believe, in 2022. And in that time, we kind of missed some of these rookies turning into superstars. But now, you're starting to see some of the guys that we were talking about as rookies and as top prospects who are now winning these MVPs and winning these awards. Bernie, for you, this is a guy that I know you always liked. Since he joined the Bears, a guy who has put it together on really all 3 sides of the ball now. Even his pitching has been serviceable as well. What your kind of first thoughts of Ben Combs when he got here, and what do you think about him being the August MVP?
Yeah, my first, sight of Ben Combs was, I think he joined 2 years ago, last fall, and I saw him in Fast and Field. It was like the first day all the new kids were at the Bud Dome, and I immediately said, yeah, this kid outworked everybody there. Again, he was not a good defender, definitely wasn't a good hitter. He did not barely play on Florida, I believe. He was the bottom of that team, and like Kedge said, he's worked his way all the way from the bottom, and he deserves, every MVP he gets from here on out.
Talking about some of our best hitters, let's move on to some of our best pitchers. And I'll tell you what, this was a very strong month for pitching as well. Coming in with our youth Cy Young, coming in 3rd place, we have Owen Haynes, a very nice month, kind of the ace of that 12U Floyd staff. Again, I feel like 1 and 2 could kind of go either way. It's going to be a slight edge here. Coming in 2nd place is going to be Owen Lewis. Again, that all-reliable pitcher, gets a ton of innings, a great strikeout to walk rate. But just edging him out, a little bit of a lower ERA, a little bit of higher innings pitched, and pitching those championship games, it is Harrison Blaebaum. And I'll tell you what, Bernie, 3rd place in the MVP, the summer MVP. He's got several monthly MVPs to his name. Now he's adding a Cy Young to his name. How big is it, Bernie, for Harrison Blaebaum to not only be the arguably best hitter in the Bears to now be one of the best pitchers as well.
Yeah, this guy's obviously always known as a great hitter. I think Owen Lewis, has always been seen as the ace of the Burnstone squad. I still think he is. But Harrison proved this month that, look, he can take the ball in a Sunday championship game. He did it twice this month and absolutely dominated. I think he went 5 innings in both outings against 2 very good squads and got those 2 championship wins.
KJ, we've talked a lot of this show about, people have short memories. Everybody is kind of looking at this Burnstone team as one of the best teams in the Bears because they are one of the best teams in the Bears. But it wasn't too long ago, KJ, that this Burnstone team was a 500 team fighting to make their way. How big is it to have a guy like Harrison who's a part of a team that he wants to make better and now turning it into a top roster, doing it on the mound? Doing it on whatever side of the ball you need him, playing different positions. How big is it to have a star who's willing to do all that?
Harrison's the kind of guy, man. He makes everyone better, and you can put this guy anywhere, and he's going to compete for you. I mean, I remember, a couple years ago we were being a little shaky putting this guy at first base, and now he's playing third base. He can play some shortstop. He's getting on the mound in big games, and so he's just a perfect complete player.
Yeah, I mean, he's the type of guy that you want to build a team around, and it feels like he's kind of generating that talent around him to build this really, now arguably the best team in the Bears right now. Moving on to our other Cy Young, our high school Cy Young, Bernie. We just talked about Harrison Bleibom, who's taken home his first Cy Young. Maybe won't be his last, but the guy who wins the high school Cy Young, Bernie, he's won a lot more than one. Let's start off with third place. It's going to be another guy who's won more than one. That's Mason Geddes coming in third, and I'll tell you what, KJ, if you heard these numbers, 10 innings, 14 Ks, 6 walks, and a 1.44 ERA. Sounds like a pretty good month, right? That's only good for third place here in the Cy Young. That was Mason Geddes. Coming in second, we have Andrew Willeret. Again, a 1.27 ERA. That was only good for second place in the Cy Young. Coming in first, Bernie, this ain't his first Cy Young. This ain't his second Cy Young. I don't even think it's his fifth Cy Young, Bernie. This guy is the perennial Cy Young Award winner. It's Logan Eckert once again. 15 strikeouts to 5 walks, a 0.78 ERA in the month of August. Bernie, I know we talk about this guy a lot. What more is there to say about Logan Eckert? In my opinion, the best pitcher in the Bears right now. What do you think about Logan Eckert's August?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of business as normal for Logan Eckert. I know. We've said before on the show, this guy pitched Saturdays. Everyone said he couldn't do it on Sundays. He started doing it on Sundays. He did it when he was 14, going against the other youth kids, and they were like, "Well, can Logan Eckert do it against the high school Bear guys?" And he's since he got up to high school Bears, he's absolutely dominated. I think there's been 4 awards now since he got up here, and I think he's won at least 3 of them since he moved up to high school Bears.
Yeah, absolutely dominant stuff. KJ, we don't necessarily always talk about this narrative on BBN, but I do think it may be warranted here. Talking about Logan Eckert, where does he rank all time? Is he one of the best pitchers all time in Bears history? I mean, he's definitely, obviously we haven't done a Cy Young Award every single season, but he's definitely got the most Cy Youngs in Bear history. Where do you think he kind of stacks up in terms of the Bears pitchers all time?
Yeah, I think you got to talk about him when you talk about when you have that conversation. And this isn't a guy who really overpowers you. Like, yes, he can throw 80 miles an hour, which is pretty significant. But the big thing that makes him so good is he just pumps strikes. I mean, and he's got multiple pitches that he can throw for strikes. So it just goes to show, man, you don't need overpowering stuff. Obviously, velocity is going to help, but throwing strikes, having command is the big thing for him.
Logan Eckert may just be a top 3 Bears pitcher of all time, and he may not be third or second. We'll see when it's all said and done. Moving on to our Rookie of the Month award. We just talked about several guys who are former top rookies, former top prospects in the Bears. Let's talk about our current top rookies and top prospects in the Bears. Coming in third place, this guy a great month at .545 as a rookie with a 1201 OPS. It's Hank Schultz as well, playing multiple different positions for that 14U Floyd team. Coming in second place, we have Bruce Portell. He hit 2 homers as a rookie. Very, very impressive in your first month. Had a very nice month, hit .429. And then coming in first place, we've got our number 1 prospect in Landon Portell. This guy hit .600. That led all varsity rookies. A 1314 OPS, and as well pitched some of the big games for that team. KJ, we just talked about Ben Combs. We just talked about Rudy Montenegro Langley, other guys who were former top prospects. Landon Portell, Rookie of the Month, his first month with the Bears. What do you think about him as a player right now, and what do you think about him as a player 12 months from now?
Yeah, I think, the thing about Landon is stats don't really do him good because he hits the ball so hard. His doubles kind of turn into singles sometimes. And, obviously he's not the fastest guy in the world, but, the stats don't show how good this guy's been. I mean, all of his outs are hard hit outs. And you get this guy for a full winter, a full offseason of building his body. He's already got good size. You put some muscle on him, he's going to really be a threat for not just rookie of the month, but come spring, possibly an MVP.
Bernie, you could have doubled Rudy Montenegro Langley's average his first month with the Bears, and he still didn't hit 600. Landon Portell did it in his first month. How high is his ceiling with the Bears, Bernie?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, man. He's a lot better player than when Rudy joined. He's a lot better player than Ben Combs was when he joined. And everything I've seen from Portell so far, I've seen this kid in multiple different practices. He's one of the hardest workers at practice. So really, the sky's the limit. I think he could easily, obviously be the leader of that 14th Floyd team in the future and, consider himself among one of the best players in the Bears in a short amount of time here.
Great month for Landon Portell in his first one with the Bears. Very, very impressive. Moving on to our Platinum Glove Award. This goes to the best defender in the Bears. Coming in third place, we have Mason Geddes. And I'll tell you what, it feels like it's been a while since I've said this, but I think 15U Floyd is the best defensive team in the Bears right now. This fall, they've been absolutely fantastic as a team. I believe if you remove the first game back after a 3-week break, this team's feeling like 96% as a roster, which is very, very impressive. Mason Geddes, obviously the shortstop, the heart of that defense. Very, very impressive. I'll tell you what, Bernie, 2023 might have been the year of the pitcher for the Bears. 2024 might be the year of the catcher, because we've got two catchers here in the top two for the Platinum Glove. Coming in second, Rudy Montenegro Langley, arguably the most impactful youth catcher in Bears history. And coming in first place, it's going to be Wyatt Poore. KJ, I know the running game isn't necessarily as big at 16U, but tell me what you think about these stats. Wyatt Poore has allowed fewer than a stolen base per game so far this fall, and he's thrown out 30% of the runners who have gone against him. So not very many people are running, and when they do, he's throwing them out at a very high rate. How impactful is it to have a guy like Wyatt Poore behind the plate?
Yeah, for a long time, I was not a big fan of giving a catcher a Platinum Glove Award, but if you see this guy play catcher, you can see how valuable it is and how much this guy deserves it. We have some really, like you said, strong catchers in the Bears, and Wyatt kind of separates himself if you watch this guy catch. So, yeah, he's legit. He changes the game when he's back there.
Yeah, Wyatt Poore, second in the MVP race, first in the Platinum Glove race. Bernie, I know I've said it a lot. This is probably one of my favorite sayings. The hardest thing to find in baseball is what, Bernie?
Catcher that can hit.
A catcher that can hit. We've got two of them here who got MVP votes. We have first in MVP and second MVP. First in Platinum Glove, second in Platinum Glove. I'll tell you what, Bernie, is 2024 the year of the catcher?
I mean, yeah, it looks like it so far, man. I know why. It is crazy for a catcher at 750 like Wyatt Poore did, and be as good as he is defensively. He frames well. He blocks very well, elite. And if you look at Wyatt Poore, it doesn't look like he has a cannon. But if you see one Wyatt Poore throw, this guy has an absolute hose. Same with Rudy, has another absolute hose on him as well. And yeah, these two are, I think, the two best catchers in the Bears as of right now.
Yeah, I mentioned he allowed less than a stolen base per game this fall, and a lot of that's because people just don't run after his throw in the first inning. They just don't run on him. Moving into our August All-Stars, these are some of the top players in the Bears. I'm going to go ahead and throw it up here on the screen. And we'll start with the first half of the list, the left side here. I want each of you to give me one player here that you are most impressed with their August. We've got Lucas Closter, Cooper Woolen, Hamilton Case, Owen Haynes, Rudy Montenegro Langley, Harrison Blebaum, Owen Lewis, Neifert Kabarkis, Landon Portell, and Hank Schultz. We already kind of talked about Rudy and Landon Portell. So, KJ, maybe give me a different guy on the list here. Who are you impressed with the month of August from this group?
I'm gonna go with a guy who's been here a long time, but it's kind of putting it all together, and that's Nayo Guzman. If you see this guy at practice, he's a grinder. This guy works really hard, and I think sometimes he can come off as a guy who you maybe think is in quotes too cool to work hard, but this guy couldn't be farther from that. He's a workhorse, man, and he's been here a lot, really putting in the work here at the Bud Dome lately.
Bernie, looking at a guy in the left column here, Closter, Woolen, Case, Haynes, Blebaum, Lewis, Kabarkis, or Schultz. Which of these guys was, for you, the most impressive month of August from the guys we haven't talked about?
Yeah, I know we talked about this guy a little bit over the course of the summer, but Cooper Woolen continues to impress me, man. This was a guy who last fall was not a good hitter at all. Decent little defender, always been, but this guy worked very hard last offseason. He kind of showed in the summer that he was, a top 3 or 4 hitter on that 12U Floyd squad, but continues to prove in the fall that the summer was just not a fluke. I know he had a home run this weekend, that he's here to stay as one of the top, at bare minimum 3 hitters on that 12U Floyd squad.
Yeah, and a player I want to give a little bit of love to is going to be Naifri Kabarkis. I feel like this team needed somebody to step up and be a superstar, and Naifri has absolutely been a superstar. 3 home runs in the month of August, and OPS, I believe that was over 1,700, 667 batting average. This guy was an absolute animal. Huge shout out to Naifri Kabarkis. Now moving over to the other side of the list here for our high schoolers, we have Aaron Knoll, Joey Burgess, Mason Geddes, Wyatt Poore, Ben Combs, Andrew Willeret, Logan Eckert, Andrew Engelken, Nio Guzman, and Mason Lukens. Bernie, looking at this list, obviously we've talked a little bit about Ben Combs. We've talked a little bit about Logan Eckert. Who else on this list stands out for you? Knoll, Burgess, Geddes, Poore, Willeret, Engelken, Guzman, and Lukens.
Yeah, I think the first name that pops into mind that definitely not everyone's heard of in the Bears is Mason Lukens. Again, a guy I don't think that put up great stats in the summer, but JT kept saying once the fall started, this guy's a good hitter. And I think he proved this month that he's good to go. He can be a starting caliber player for that 17U Burn team. It's a name that I think almost no one in the Bears knows, and this guy's a decent little player.
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about a guy in Joey Burgess who I think is, has kind of been hovering around the All-Star 1 month and then kind of falls off, not an All-Star the next month. I thought a really strong month for him, especially moving to the drop 3 for the first time. Was very impressed with his at-bats. He's one of the few guys on the team who it seems like is still hitting the ball as hard as they were before with the drop 5 that they are the drop 3. So really impressed with his month. I think all of the 15U Floyd guys' offensive numbers were a little bit down this month because of the change to drop 3. But I thought Joey Burgess a very nice month in particular. Let's go ahead and move on to the all-rookie team. We already talked about 3 rookies who had very nice August. Let's go ahead and talk about 7 more here who were very nice in the month of August. We have Landon Bruce Portell and Hank Schultz that we've already talked about. Oh, sorry about that. We have Landon Portell, Bruce Portell, and Hank Schultz we've already talked about. Some other guys. We have Landon Durbin, Fletcher Chastain, Alex Vo, Colby Lair, Christian Jenkins, Quentin Choate, Conrad Comiskey. A lot of guys here, KJ, that I think we all like as prospects, but are really showing up, putting good numbers in their first month of the Bears, which, again, is not always super common. I would say the most normal thing to happen is after their first winter is when they really take off. These guys are starting pretty good from a good place. What do you think about this list, KJ? Who do you want to kind of highlight here?
I'll talk about Colby Lair. This is a guy who I think he has good physical tools, but really hasn't put it together. He's really raw, and his work ethic is great. I mean, he's in a bunch of programs. He's always here at the Bud Dome. He's another guy you can kind of put everywhere. He plays a little bit of infield. He can catch. He can pitch. He can play outfield. So a guy who's valuable in that way. He's really had some bright moments on the mound, and has days where he looks like a superstar. And at the plate, I think the hard swing is there, the aggressiveness is there. Just kind of putting it all together, and I think we're really going to get down to business in this winter.
Bernie, I'm going to narrow this list down to 3 guys for you, and I want you to kind of tell me which of them is the most interesting for you going forward. We've got Alex Vo, we've got Christian Jenkins, and we've got Conrad Comiskey. 3 different ages there, all showed a lot of potential in their first month. Who's kind of the most interesting for you there?
I got to go with my guy, Alex Vo. Obviously, this is a guy I get to watch every weekend. He's one of those players that I think has a rare combination of athleticism, speed, and power in his game. And I think he showed, the first month or the first weekend of the fall, he battled in the 5-hole, and he did not have a good weekend. He went like 1 for 10. You call it nerves, whatever you want to call it. But from that weekend on, after that, he was great. He played a great infield for me all month. And this guy is currently batting 4. He's gotten the mound a couple Saturdays. Again, he throws hard. It's a little bit of a control issue, but again, with some innings, with some more at-bats, I think you can kind of get more refined, and this guy's going to be a superstar.
Yeah, it's interesting to me. You look at when Rudy joined this team, again, the team was in a much different spot than Alex Vo, who's joining this roster. He's got these 2 superstars around him, and he kind of can just play his role with a little bit of less pressure. I really like to see how he's bounced back, and I've been very, very impressed with what I've seen from Alex Vo so far this season. That's going to do it for our August award show. Next week, we will have a Hackin' Time segment, so be sure to send your doubles, triples, or homers to BearsBaseballNetwork@gmail.com to be featured on Hackin' Time. But Bears Baseball's back this weekend, so I'm very, very excited to go out and check out all the action. That's going to do it for this episode of the Bears Baseball Network, and we'll talk to you all next week.